Hello everyone, welcome to the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture. I'm of course your host TJ, coming to you today to talk about Pole Position, the new book from Rebecca J. Caffrey, who I'm actually never read anything by, but I am very much impressed with this novel, which is obviously a gay romance. Haven't reviewed one of those here at the Pisces Guide for a while, and as an author of gay romance and obviously an avid reader of the genre, I thought it was time to return. So anyway, this is a romance between two F1 racers. One is Keon Walker, who is sort of this established figure, kind of in his 30s, kind of a stick in the mud, to be quite honest. And he ends up crossing paths with Harper James, who is this very much younger racer in his 20s, openly gay, but also has a very troubled past because of having been in the foster system, and has never really been able to forge meaningful long-term connections romantically or otherwise, understandably so, given the disruptions of his time in the foster care system. Obviously, Harper is a bit of a jackass and doesn't take things seriously, which clashes with Keon, who's very much, by the book, likes his things to be done a certain way. And so the novel is very much about them each kind of navigating their differences and finding a way to establish their love connection. It's a little enemies to lovers. It's a little grumpy sunshine. Obviously, it's racing, which is a whole different subset of gay romance that I have not really read very much of, but I will certainly be reading a lot of. I've just watched the movie F1 last month, and so I was like, when I saw this book at the library, I thought to myself, well, this is something I'm definitely going to have to read and enjoy. And I did. I think that both characters are drawn with a lot of detail, a lot of loving detail. There's a lot of humor. I'm not sure I would classify this as a rom-com exactly, but it is, there are elements of comedy in it, and they do sort of get on each other's nerves. But I think that in true good romance fashion, as I've said here many times, they're both insufferable at times. Harper is a bit of a prig. Keon is a bit of a prig, and Harper is a bit of a jackass. But they both have reasons for why they act like that. For Keon, part of it is that he relies on his rituals and regimens to sort of keep himself focused. Harper obviously is deeply scarred and traumatized by his past, and so both of them have to find, their love allows them to sort of get out of those established patterns and find a way toward each other. And what I appreciate is that both of them have sort of support systems that help them get through this. Harper has his friend Joannis, who is like a former boyfriend and now best friend, also racer. Keon has his sister Elise, who is currently caring for his mother, who's suffering from early onset Parkinson's. So obviously there's a lot going on in this book, both for the characters in their romance, but also for their personal lives. And I really enjoy novels that give us a lot to sort of grapple with. I think that anybody who's ever had a family member suffer through a neurodegenerative disease like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's will find that part of the story deeply moving. I don't know very many scenes with Keon's mother per se, but we see the effect that her decline has on the family dynamic, and I think that's really valuable to sort of show how that can change how you think about the world. So like I said, it's no wonder that Keon is so kind of uptight and very reliant on a certain way of doing things in order to be successful, and it's no doubt that he's, obviously one of the most brilliant, if not the most brilliant racer of his generation. And so, I really appreciate the racing bits of it. I mean, Caffrey doesn't go into tons of detail about racing, which is just fine, because I don't really care, because I don't know that much about racing, so therefore I don't have any particular, skin in this game. But I do think that, obviously the heart and soul of this story is the romance between these two characters, and I did enjoy the slow burn, each of them feeling each other out, and, gradually realizing that they're strong, one might even say, overwhelming dislike of each other is as much due to their mutual attraction as it is to genuine, clash of personalities. And I spoke a few days ago about, why I find Grumpy Sunshine to be such a useful trope to work within, and is that because it gives you something to sort of build these characters around. And I think that Caffrey does a very good job of giving us fully fleshed out, fully designed, fully inhabited characters who have their own backstories, their own traumas and baggage that they bring to this relationship. But that's exactly why love, and queer love in particular, is so radically powerful. I spoke yesterday here at the Pisces Guide about the importance of reading histories of queer joy, and I think that books like this one are also, in gay romance in general, are just reminders of how powerful queer love can be, not just when it comes to social or political ends, but just helping us navigate the fraught territory of our emotional lives. We're all very complicated. We all have, and all sorts of stuff going on in our brains. And I really enjoy the way this novel, while not losing sight of the sexy bits, like there are some very steamy, sexy bits, um, doesn't lose sight that it's really human magic that makes things work. Lastly, and I will just touch upon the sex thing, I do continue to insist that gay sex is an important part of romance within this tradition. And I think that gay sex scenes and gay sex can have important power beyond just titillation. In this case, it helps each character to sort of figure out their feelings for each other, be intimate, find ways of doing that that brings out their best selves. So anyway, I definitely very much enjoyed this book. I think it gets my enthusiastic Pisces Guide to Pop Culture seal of approval. That is, again, pole position by Rebecca S. Caffrey. Like I said, it's a great cover design. Everything about it is great. I definitely enjoy and recommend it to all my gay and MM romance lovers out there. I think you'll find a lot to enjoy about it, because I certainly did. So that is all I have for today. So as always, thanks so much for joining me here at the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture. I'm your host, TJ. Take care, y'all.